Hi, I'm Victoria, and I'm so pleased to have Jeffrey Dee, the President CEO for Habitat for Humanity Metro Maryland, as our guest on Listen Up Homebuyers. Jeff has been with Habitat since 2013 in a variety of capacities, and during his tenure, he has achieved 161% increase in funds raised for Habitat Metro Maryland. Jeff, it is such a pleasure to have you on Listen Up Homebuyers.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. And Jeff, for people who don't know, and I'm not sure who that would be, but would you give me an overview? What is Habitat for Humanity?
It's a great question. So, Habitat for Humanity is a great organization that was started about 40 years ago now,
Hmm.
45 years ago. And it is all about two key concepts: inclusivity, bringing people together from all walks of life, and partnership housing. Partnership housing where men and women, boys, girls, people from all walks of life can come together with the simple concept of us partnering with another family or with a family in need to build decent and affordable housing.
Do you rehab houses or do you build houses on existing lots or do you do some sort of a combination of both?
So we do new construction. That's what we're typically known for,
Hmm.
building new homes on vacant land or on infill lots. Um, and then the other thing we also do is we do rehabs, where we will purchase a vacant, distressed property, and we will purchase it, gut it. We normally will put in anywhere from 75 to $100,000 into a home.
Hmm.
We rebuild it, we put in all new systems as necessary, and then we sell it to a family. In both cases, with the new construction or the rehabs, it's 0% interest for a 30-year mortgage.
How how does Habitat go about securing properties, securing lots in this kind of a competitive market that we're in here in 2022?
We have to get very creative, and we have to look at properties and opportunities that other people would pass up. So, as I was mentioning earlier, we'll buy a vacant, distressed property. So
Mhm.
we'll buy properties that other people won't touch because they'll be like they can't make a profit on it. So it's very challenging right now. We're working on or talking to various faith groups.
Mhm. Mhm.
There are a lot of faith groups that have land that they'd be willing to, work out some type of arrangement, whether there's a
Mhm.
ground lease or some other way to compensate them for the land. And, we're building affordable housing on that property. It's very complicated. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different, different deals that kind of come past my desk, and you have to evaluate whether it's feasible.
Yeah.
Is it going to work?
Do some people gift you houses and gift you land, sort of like Nature Conservancy does with land? That kind of a concept.
Um, they can. I mean, we'll absolutely take that. We haven't had that yet in this
Mhm.
area,
Yeah.
probably because the value of land is so high. I will say that there are times when Montgomery County or Prince George's County, the government has they'll sell us land at a dollar as an
Wow.
example.
Uh-huh.
We're actually partnering with Arlington Housing Corporation, AHC,
Mhm.
and Interfaith Works on this project at the intersection of Randolph Road and Veirs Mill.
Yeah.
It's a 6.2 acre lot owned by Montgomery County. They're going to sell it to us for a dollar, and we're going to build 195 affordable units,
Wow.
27 home ownership, and then the rest will be rental. So we're building the home ownership part, and then AHC and Interfaith Works is building the rental units. The reality is, affordable housing is a critical need in this area. And if it weren't for the county willing to step in and say, okay, here's this property we have,
Mhm.
we're willing to sell it to you for a dollar.
Mhm.
If they got market value, we couldn't afford to do it.
No,
Um,
I think it's miraculous that you can afford to do it anyway. Can you tell me about financing? I know you take donations because I've given donations. So how do you finance all of this?
um, so, well, it depends, but so first, thank you for your donation.
Hmm.
And the critical element is we're always going to lose money on a house. We just want to lose as little as possible.
Okay.
when we are selling houses. And the way we can do it, um, talking back to the Randolph Road project as an
Mm-hmm.
example. So we are in the middle of a $1.5 million capital campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So our part of the project is 9.4 million. And we are raising 1.5 as a capital campaign. We're looking at new market tax credits, federal home loan bank, construction loan with a local bank, gifts in kind. There are
Mm-hmm.
a lot of great organizations, companies out there that will donate their time. The way we make it work is by having that extra element of fundraising. We also operate restores.
Mm-hmm.
Restores are, I call them Salvation Army on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
We take donations of furniture, appliances, electronics, tools, and we sell those items at discounted prices to the general public. And
Mm-hmm.
that revenue raise goes right towards affordable housing. The name Habitat gets you a lot of
I bet.
opportunity for people to help you.
I bet.
And we need it, and we take advantage of it whenever we
Mm-hmm.
can, because
Mm-hmm.
it's, we don't have an army of people that can do all the permitting and all the other work. We just
Right.
rely on a very lean staff to
Yeah.
do everything.
Okay, so you set it all up. You've got the land, you've got the project ready to go.
Right.
Who is helping you build this project in particular, but really all the projects?
So, we have, we're a licensed general contractor. We're licensed in the state of Maryland. We have 2 full-time construction staff. But really, the way that the way the Habitat model works is that it's men and women like you. It's volunteers coming out and helping us build, and that's how we keep our costs down, because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the work can be done by volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
future homeowner. This is important. I think a lot of people, when they think of Habitat, the 2 myths are that Jimmy Carter started it, which is not true. He's our most famous volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was started by Millard and Linda Fuller back in 1976. The second myth is that we give houses away, and that's not true at all. And matter of fact, when a person comes to us and says, I'm interested in purchasing a home, we're underwriting them for a 30-year 0% mortgage.
Wow.
They're hardworking families. They have jobs, but they just don't earn enough, or maybe they had a rough patch a couple of years ago, and so,
or even now in the pandemic,
or even now, right?
Yeah.
So they have to do the same work, with the financials, and on top of that, they have to do what we call sweat equity, where they are actually building on the construction site.
So how do you structure this? How many hours do they have to put in order to get that sweat equity and meet that whatever criteria it is that you have?
Yeah, it's a great question. So typically, just using you and your husband as an example. So there are 2 adults over 18 in your house. So you would have to do 400 hours of sweat equity combined. Now, when we talk about sweat equity, we also we add in there, like you have 2 children. So let's say your daughter, she gets an A during report cards. That A counts as an hour of sweat equity, so that everybody has a chance to be able to say, I helped with this house.
Contribute. Yeah.
To contribute. Yeah. And then the other element is, so half of the hours have to be done on the construction site. And then the other half, or a little bit more, have to be done in homeowner education classes.
Wow.
So one of the cool things about Habitat is when we sell a house to a family and we enter into a 30-year partnership, we are doing everything we can to set them up for success.
Right.
So they will take classes through us on budgeting. We sell them the house. It's their house. They own it. But we do like to think of ourselves as partners with them.
Good. Now I want to back up a little bit, because you talk about all these hours that people have to put in. And, first of all, I love this concept so much. Do you offer some kind of training? Because I know, I love to take on projects, but when I get in over my head, my husband, who has built houses, can kind of come along and go, yeah, no, that, I'm going to help you with this piece of it. How do you train people who have no background at all in construction to put in 400 hours worth of work?
A lot of patience.
Mhm.
So we have two full-time construction managers,
Uh-huh.
and underneath them, we have what we call long-term construction volunteers. We call them crew leaders. Some things we don't have volunteers do: electrical,
Yeah.
plumbing, anything that requires a permit or inspection. That we have the
Sure.
professionals do it.
Right. Right.
But a lot of time, it's putting up fences, putting up walls, framing walls.
You have somebody come through and of course check all the work. And then of course you'll have everything checked by licensed, electricians, plumbers, and
Yeah,
contractors.
we're doing the work, but they're teaching us every step of the way. So that's one of the reasons why habitat houses, they tend to take longer than a for-profit builder,
Sure.
because we rely on volunteers, and we can't finish the house too fast because the homeowner needs to get their sweat equity in, and
Right.
that's
Yeah.
their commitment to the project.
Right.
So it is a village coming together
It
and
is.
and making this possible. And you look at it like, how is this even working? Because you have all these disparate parts that have to fit in and work, and it does. There's some magic there because
Oh,
logically it shouldn't work.
how do you determine who gets a house and who doesn't?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's really important, again, because we don't give away houses. We spread the word. We have several hundred, if not thousand people on our inquiry list.
Wow.
People have said, I'm interested, the next time there's availability, can you please let me know?
Yeah.
So we send out, hey, we have this availability in, Montgomery County and Prince George's County. Here's the application. Here's what you need to do, and here's the deadline. Family will apply, and again, there's no differentiation between a family applying to a bank for a mortgage and us,
Mhm.
with the exception of we offer zero interest mortgage.
That's a big
Um,
difference.
right. Well, it's a huge difference, but in terms of like the paperwork, what people have to go through, it's
Okay. Yeah.
the same process. I think the thing that I'm really proud of is that we are willing and able to take chances on families.
Hmm.
Families who are at 30% of AMI. So they're making $40,000 a year. So once a family comes to us and says, I
Hmm.
would like to purchase a house, we give them the application, they fill it out, they send it back to us. And the first question is, do you have a legitimate housing need?
Hmm.
Um, you have a willingness to partner. So you're willing to do the sweat equity with us.
What about
Yeah,
people who aren't physically capable of being able to contribute, lend a hand in the construction work?
right. So as a great example would be a veteran. They still have to do sweat equity, but we would make exceptions in the sense we would say, okay, maybe you go to our restore and you volunteer at the restore. Maybe there's other stuff,
Yeah.
office work you can do. So they're still contributing. They're still getting that sense of empowerment from having worked towards their house, even if they're not necessarily on the build site each day or each day that they can building. So
Hmm.
it's wonderful to own a home. It helps, it's the number one way that people build wealth in this country. It's intergenerational transfer of wealth,
Yeah.
but it's all at the same time, there's more to it than just paying a mortgage payment.
Mm.
So, and that's why we do a lot of the work that we do, because the families that we're partnering with have demonstrated their commitment to owning a home, that they're willing, as former President Obama said, they've got skin in the game.
The fact that you are offering education and you're allowing people to participate in building their home, to me that will create pride of ownership.
Right.
And there's nothing like that. So I am so grateful that Habitat for Humanity exists, and really grateful for your work. Jeffrey Dee is the president CEO for Habitat for Humanity Metro Maryland. Jeff, it has really been a pleasure talking to you about Habitat for Humanity here on Listen Up Homebuyers.
Well, thank you again for having me, and love to talk to you more in the future about other ways we can partner together.
Absolutely. Part two on the way.
That's right.